G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. Spawning in on the east side of the map, playing as the blue Holy Roman Empire, it is Lucifron 7. On the opposite side of the map, playing as the red Rus, it is Vortix. This is part of the Battle of the Brothers right here. These two guys going at it until a victor is determined. We're currently in game number 5. The score is currently 3-1, and it is going to be Rus. Oh, I just changed the camera there so we didn't have to hear that wolf. You guys saw the wolf. I jumped off that camera just because you guys know what I'm like with the wolf. Yeah, it is. We're currently in game number 5. This is a best of 7 in this series. So whoever is going to be getting up to that all-important 4-win mark is going to be declared the victor. Nice little bunch of sheep up there for Lucifron. He'll be happy with that one. This map is, of course, French Pass. It is the brand new French Pass. It has been fixed up. It has been, made to look a little bit nicer. It's going to be a bit easier, or rather a bit harder to wall this map. So you can see there's a nice little spot here for a wall. But down here, it is very, very distant. And it's the same up towards the north. So you could probably justify a wall across here, and then maybe a wall up on that side like that. But it's going to be very hard to wall in over on this edge. But we are still seeing players play quite defensive on this map, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see some sort of, maybe even a second town center shenanigan come out today from Lucifron. It's something that we've been seeing a lot out of players recently, going for a second town center on the Holy Roman Empire. It just seems to make a lot of sense, primarily just because of the emergency repairs, and I think this is probably something that we're going to start seeing a lot in the meta, not just for the Holy Roman Empire, but every single civ. I think we're going to start seeing second town centers all the time, because there has been a change to the town centers that it was not documented. This was not a documented change, and when I say that, I mean as in it wasn't on the patch notes. They changed it without mentioning it in the patch notes, and that change is that the second town center can now retarget units. So you will remember that the main town center. So basically, just to run it back, give you guys a little bit of a history lesson. Back in the beta, 2 town center was the play that people would do, and the reason why you would do that was because you could choose what units you wanted to hit with with both of your town centers. So if an enemy was pushing in with a battering ram and some longbows, you could fire at the longbows. And so the developers changed it so that no town centers could retarget what they wanted to shoot at, because what that meant was that, I could put my villagers inside the town center, and then I could fire down at those units, and then the units would have to fall back, and then I could pop my villagers out of the town center and kill the battering ram for free. And so it became very hard to rush. And then so people started going, to second town center all the time. And then the developers changed it so that your secondary town centers as well as your capital town center could no longer retarget or change their targets. But then rushing became very strong. Ram rushing became very strong because all of a sudden you couldn't defend against it. So what did they do? They made it so that the capital town center could retarget. So, if someone was pushing your main town center, you could still retarget, but your secondary town centers, you couldn't retarget it. Well, guess what? In the most recent patch, for whatever reason, you can now retarget your town center at your secondary town center. And it makes it very, very difficult to actually take it. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the kind of thing that we do see coming out of Lucifron today, because the Holy Roman Empire, they just get the added bonus, the fact that they can, retarget their town center, they can take damage with a battering ram, and then guess what? They can heal it up for free with emergency repairs. And so it just synergizes very well with the way that they play. And obviously, the fact that Regnitz Cathedral as well as the Palace of Swabia aren't as strong as they used to be, it's not so much of a pull factor to get up into that 3rd and 4th age anymore. And so getting a decent amount of units out, or a decent amount of villagers out, it's not actually a bad thing for them anymore. So I wouldn't be surprised with this change that we will actually start to see very, very greedy plays. And that's something that we have actually started to see a lot more of as well, are those greedy plays. But now we're going to have age ups coming through for both of these guys. Bounty at the moment for Vortix, sitting on 320. Rus is an interesting civ coming out on this map. It does make sense, though, in a way, because if you're going up against the Holy Roman Empire, which is a correct prediction that he did make, then that's a pretty good Civ pick here. Vortix will be very happy with this matchup. The Holy Roman Empire have difficulties in dealing with the Rus, just primarily because when they do hit that castle age timing, the warrior monks always going to be out a little bit earlier than the prelates onto those positions and look to deny it, especially with the Rus, the way that they've got the early lances as well. But now we can see that we've got a little bit of a forward base coming in here for Vortix. He's done a great job to tank it up with the Scout, but Scout falling down to 15 health. He's got to be careful not to lose the position there on that, but indeed, now going to be dropping down the hunting cabin in a bit of a weird spot. I would have thought he would have gone right here next. Ideally, you'd want to go right next to... Okay, that is a very weird spot. So, he puts the hunting cabin where the wooden fortress should be, and the wooden fortress where the hunting cabin should be. I think he might have been a little bit, you know, he's under pressure here, so his brother is sort of... found a mistake or forced a mistake out of him. So why would you want the hunting cabin in here? Just to get that higher gold a minute. I mean, you're on 18 gold a minute. You put it there, you're probably up to 27 gold a minute, you know, because you've got this extra ring of trees that is all of a sudden in your circle. Forward base now coming down for Vortix, though. 8 villagers out here going to be well protected. And we are going to be seeing some archery rangers move in and down towards the other side of the map. We can see Lucifron going for a fast castle here. So not going to be looking or thinking about a second town center at this point. All the villagers sitting underneath the town center. But he is going to be hotly contested over on this side of the map with, obviously, his brother working his way over towards this position, and plenty of scouts out. So are we seeing professional scouts coming? Oh no, it's never mind, it's Rus. We might actually see professional scouts though. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, no professional scouts, not yet at least. Rus, typically you wouldn't need to go professional scouts just because with the boar build these days, you're going to have map control, which means you can take your deer. But for the Holy Roman Empire, it is something that we have been seeing. Second archery range going to be coming down. So now a flood of units going to be making their way out, and obviously Lucifron's going to see this. And the question is, how does he react? And at this point in time, it's not going to be any reaction at all. He is able to afford his Regnitz Cathedral. So not going to be a Burgrave Palace today. No Burgraves coming out whatsoever. Back in the base of Vortix, he's just chilling. He's not doing anything too crazy. But we do actually have double broadaxe that has come in. He's also got wheelbarrow. So this is a full-blown Guz build that is coming out right now. We are talking about absolute insane levels of production that are going to be happening here for Vortix. He's got basically all the relevant economic upgrades that he needs, and now spotting out that barracks is going to get cancelled immediately. You can see the villager for Lucifron has to fall back towards the base because he knows that he's in trouble. At least, you know, he's in trouble down on this position. Now the question is, what route does he go into? Does he look to go into just that very typical knight build? And that's exactly what it seems to be. The other option, of course, is to go into men-at-arms, which does well, but obviously if there's a stable down, then it's going to create issues for you because the lancers or knights of your enemy are quite good at dealing with that. So now that knight going to be coming out, going to be looking to apply some pressure up towards that north side. We can see double stable coming out, but once again, Lucifron looking to apply that pressure, looking to come through with those archers, going to be focusing down that stable, or at least looking to force some villagers off it. And it looks like the first villager on that Regnitz Cathedral gets pushed back. Second villager going to get pushed back. It's going to be going down as well. Other villagers moving to the north side there. Lucifron not reacting the fastest, right? They're not reacting the swiftest. But now we see that more archers going to be picked up in the middle here. Prelate sitting out, ready to pick up this relic, and more archers continuing to group out over here on this side. And now we look at I mean, assessing this position, you would definitely say that Vortix is still in a good spot. He's caused a little bit of idle time, and he's got him right where he wants him. He's able to identify that there's one relic down here. You're not touching this. You're not touching this relic down here. Other relic up towards the two up towards the north side, and the third one that's already been captured. But all of this is part of his game plan. He knows. Worst case scenario, my enemy gets 2 relics. That's fine. That is absolutely fine for him. He's going to look to try and fight it. And that's why we can see these high knight numbers coming out here. But obviously now that the Rus player has aged, or rather the Holy Roman Empire player has aged up, you'd probably expect there to be less archers coming out from Vortix, just because he's going to be going up against armored units. And that's exactly what we do see from Lucifron here. He's also going to be looking to wall up on that top side. First relic going to be making its way in. Interestingly, he does have the second prelate out, but I can only assume it's in the Archon Chapel. Indeed, it is. For whatever reason, I don't know why, but players don't like to take their Archon Chapel prelate out and bring it out over to get this relic in nice and quick. I don't know why that is. I guess it's because the Archon Chapel's good. But still, you guys get my point, right? Like, surely you would rather have that second relic for like an extra, you know, or you just like to have that second relic. You can see the Prelate moving his way out here, but Villager's going to be heading up to this top side as well. I think they're coming up for the board, but with that, you know, that's probably going to signal off to Vortix that, hey, there's a Prelate up here. You got to come and deal with this Prelate. And he might even look to send a Knight or two around because of that if he runs into it. But you can see now, towards the base, a bit of a battle beginning to unfold. We've got Knights that are trying to make their way out to the Archers, and you can see that Archer mass is still looking pretty healthy, pretty thick. No +1 upgrades just yet. Towards the north, we can see that Prelate not going to actually get scouted out. That Relic going to get picked up. Knight's going to be able to chase away the Knights of his opponent. And everybody making their way out now. He could actually do a nice little wallolol out there, but not going to be the case. Villager did actually go down. Vortix, unfortunately, losing a Villager. There's only going to be 7 out there at this point in time. But more Knights going to continue coming in. And I guess the thing for me, right, is I feel like, sure, Lucifron is doing well here. Like, if you were to look from his perspective, yeah, he's doing great. But the problem is Vortix has him right where he wants him. This is exactly the way that Vortix plays this matchup, and it's the correct way to be playing this. He's just going to go heavy into Knights. He's going to try and look to out economy his enemy. And how would he do that? Well, we can see that there are already farms coming down. He's got 5 farms that are going down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So already you're talking about 375 wood that's not being spent on units, but rather being spent on economic units. And that is, you know, these are economic units that could be out here on the berries for free. But you can see they can't be on the berries for free because there's a scout here ready, standing by, waiting. But also up towards the north of the base, we do see Lucifron going to be taking out some gold. Second Prelate is coming, or second Relic coming back in from that first Prelate. He's made his way out. More production coming in right now as well for Vortix here. So going to be looking to add a barracks in. So he is really just sticking it out in Feudal. This classic, you know, Feudal versus Castle Age timing. And the question is whether you're going to be able to survive it. And we do now see those Knights moving around the edge just as we talked about. And one Knight going to be losing its life, unfortunately, going down. You can see that Knight number starting to really build now for Lucifron. So this is looking a little bit scary for Vortix. He would be seeing that and being like, I don't know how I feel about that. I'm going to be real with you guys. That is a lot. But speaking of a lot, we now see Vortix coming out here. He's going to be able to clean up these villages, and this is what we were talking about. You know, it's just not safe to be moving out there, not against this early aggression when you don't have walls to limit the amount of area that your enemy can rotate. But now we've got gold mine potential problems as well, and plenty of villagers going down over on the food as well as on the gold as well. So there are just villagers dying everywhere. 26 villagers now for Lucifron, 40 for his brother Vortix. So Vortix in an absolute great spot, just raiding his enemy to death. And now this mass continuing to build up for him. We can see that he's almost stopped completely. In fact, has completely stopped making archers, which is the correct decision, because at this point, archers are doing effectively nothing. They are doing, you know, 1 to 2 damage. And when you think about it, okay, they just got their +1 ranged arrow in. We can see that +1 ranged attack. Prior to that, they were doing 1 damage to the Knight. You know, they've got 5 damage. The armor on the Knight is 4. So they're doing 1 damage. They're barely tickling it. And now it's gone up to 2. But that's on the condition that there's no blacksmith that gets thrown out down from Lucifron here. But it is unlikely. Knights typically not going to be working. They don't really need a lot of upgrades to be effective. You can see they've already got very high stats, but speaking of high stats, something the villagers do not have. A couple Knights going to be running underneath this outpost here, already doing damage. And look at this. Look at the beautiful micro coming out here from Vortix. Able to draw away 1 Knight, or rather both of these Knights, get some kills down back here. Interestingly, just sends the early Knight. I don't know what this one was doing. This one could have stayed and killed all those villagers. He already got 2 of them. But with that, he'll be sending one of those Knights back to base. The other one just going to be chilling out for the moment. We can hear more units continuing to be created. So going for triple... Wow, okay. This is where it starts to get really scary for Lucifron. Triple racks here. This, because the Holy Roman Empire, they typically don't like to make archers. In fact, it's very rare that you actually see them make archers or archery rangers. If you're going heavy on spears, that's fine. They'll just mix in lance connects. But now we see the Knights moving out. I'm not sure if Lucifron's even paying attention right now. Knights just charging in to spears that were sitting there bracing. And now we see double battering ram coming down, and Lucifron looking a little bit scary. I'm not gonna lie. This isn't a good position for him. But those spears are out in heavy numbers as well. So we take a look. There's 17 spears out here. Compare that to the 15 Knights. It might not look good, but you got to remember they're being backed up by more Knights, by more archers. So they're going to be dishing out DPS this whole time. Up towards the north, the boar still just getting gathered up, but those battering rams are going to be coming out now. That's the third battering ram, and more units continuing to rally in for Vortix. This is the big thing, right? He's not forgetting to rally in units. Often people in this position will forget to rally in units. You know, they'll be very, very, focused on the front line. You know, I've got villagers queued, sure, but I'm just focusing on my micro, that kind of stuff. You can see he's got units in queue, and he's suffering a little bit with the population, but he's still rallying over here, updating his rally point just to make sure his new units are coming in. And now the push comes in. We'll head into the cinematic mode because this looks like an imminent battle that's about to break out. You can hear attack alarms going off from everywhere. The Knights trying to find a way through. The spear numbers here are looking very, very healthy right now for Vortix. Vortix going to be trying his best to defend this position. And you can see more Knights coming in over from the right-hand side. Knight just mania at this point. They are looking to just overwhelm. Now, the thing is, he needs to try and take out the spears first. That's the big thing. You need to take the spears first because those are the damage dealers. Obviously, the Knights deal damage as well, but now we can see that they're actually being repelled. It looks like he's in trouble right now, Lucifron, as villagers actually get killed to try and take down these rams that are continuing to wreak havoc, but now the archers going to be moving forward. This is their job. The archers come in, and good game gets called. Lucifron taps out. Vortix victorious and almost coming close to tying up the series. We move on to game number 6 between these two titans. Who will win? Find out in the next video, or potentially the next video after that. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.